you'll get hurt.
Jesus only.
Because Paul the Apostle in the book of Hebrews chapter 12 verse 3 to 10, he tells us that if you're a real child of God and you're walking in carnality, what is God going to do? He loves you. So as a son or a daughter, if you have children, if they do something wrong, what do? You correct them, otherwise you don't love them. And think of how many parents compromise with their children and then they reap the consequences in years to come. Poor disciplinarians. And they don't have the example in the home where the father's running around with another woman or the mom.
Yeah.
And then they're getting divorced or they're getting separated. So what are we doing? We're actually reaping what we have sown. And so Abraham wants to make sure that in his family, they don't marry non-believers. Why? Because Christ is going to come through that seed. You see? That's the seed of the Messiah. Watch this. Verse 4. But you shall go to my country, to my family, to take a wife for my son Isaac. Notice how clear that is. And the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I take your son back to the land which I came from? Now listen, if I go and I talk to them and she says, I don't want to go unless he comes here, he says, it won't work. I'm not going to send my son. And if she don't want to come here, then break it up and you're free. But don't bring her. Unless she's fully committed. I mean, God is showing us here, an incredible lesson. He goes on in verse 6, he says, but Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. Then the Lord God of heaven, who took me from my father's house, from the land of my family, who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your descendants I will give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be released from your oath. Only do not take my son back there. Why? Because my relationship with God is not by a law. It's not a forceful thing. It's willingly. I want to be willing to follow Christ. Imagine if you're forcing somebody to get married to you, the marriage will never work.